Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Spin Cycle podcast. The podcast talking to personalities, groups, and brands that make the UK and London an incredible place to be a cyclist. Today, it's just NJ and I again, unfortunately. But we thought it was a good idea to jump into this season every now and then when we don't have the guests and just generally talk about cycling in general, things that we discuss between our friends, and then maybe also some of the bits that we've discussed in the podcast. So, NJ, good to see you.
Good to see you too. The listeners are very unfortunate, aren't they?
So first things first, if you're watching this on YouTube, NJ and I are wearing Spin Cycle merch. It was teased on Instagram. We may in the future primarily sell the merch, so then it enables us to fund podcast studios, buy guest coffee, and do some like general other cool stuff. So watch this space, probably putting a website together, and you can buy some coffee or buy some merch if you'd like to. But I think it's just a way for us to reinvest back in the podcast and maybe produce it at a higher quality if we manage to finally bag Teo Gegenhardt in season whatever you fancy.
The ultimate London cyclist.
Teo from Hackney. That would be ideal for me. NJ, to talk about our ride start off with. So we're thinking 1st of April, April Fool's Day. Pints and Pavé, we're thinking of calling it, right? So it will be generally a loop of London, taking in all of the pavé that we think is quite good. Be a small route, 50, 60k, right?
Yeah, depending on how we want to do it. We could go full, like, I guess, Tour of Flanders and just go through the city. I've forgotten that really awesome name that I sent you for what we should call E3, or was it? Oh no, EC4 Harold Banker. Was that it?
Yeah, that was it. That was it. Incredible.
As we'll most likely be going through, I guess, the city of London through Bank. There's lots of cobbles there. We've been looking at some single lane alleys that we can take everyone down. And yeah, I guess there is one way of, depending on the weather, we could shorten it to just 25k. Not the best. Bit of a glorious spring sunshine. Maybe we'll do 50k. We got a couple of routes that go across London, or we could just keep it in, I guess, north or east London, so we're not going too far away. Yeah. And maybe we do like some sort of laps, so we go over the cobbles one way and then back over it the other way, so we kind of do a big loop.
Yeah,
because it's mostly a social ride rather than a chain gang smash, unless people really want to do that, because it's London on a bank holiday Monday. So I can't imagine it'll be, the traffic will be nice to us.
Yeah, and I mean, we're thinking obviously for the pints part after, maybe Lowlander in Covent Garden. They do, it's a Belgian style Grand Cafe, I think they call it, or I think it's also, they're called the Dovetail in Farringdon, near where Lap Bikes is. And yeah, they've got quite a good little setup there. I think maybe it's going to be more likely the Dovetail, primarily because they've got outdoor space, but TBC. We'll put it on the Strava
Stack the
group.
Bikes.
Yeah, we'll put it on the Strava group. Make sure you're following us on Strava. You can see that on the link tree. Generally, we'll put the ride, we'll put the route, put the time and everything on there. But we'd like to have everybody attend. There will be an award, we could say. There'll be an award for the most panache shown. So that needs to be either the person most prepared or least prepared for the cobblestones. And there are a few things that are optional but encouraged, and I would say that is aero socks, skin suits, and white bib shorts.
If you can bring the Holy Trinity, then
I mean,
Cam is.
That's it. Maybe you're already on the podium, as far as I'm concerned, right?
You've already got a little cobblestone trophy.
there's definitely some Google searches on a Lenovo laptop of me trying to find bespoke cobblestone trophy makers. And speaking to speaking to Patrick, friend of ours, he said just do it yourself, get some like Bondex or whatever it is, get a plaque. So I'm hoping there's a trophy. I'm going to try and maybe make it myself, and whoever shows the most panache on Pints and Pavé, 1st of April, will be going home with a cobblestone trophy like Van Aert and Greg Van Avermaet.
Surely it'd be Mathieu van der Poel. Walt's never won Paris-Roubaix.
Well, Oliver Flandern. Has he won RVV?
Nope.
Oh,
He's won San Remo
yeah, but
and he's won Strada.
Has he won Strada Bianchi? Oh yeah, of course he did. I've shown myself up there. Well, Van Aert hasn't won. Oh no!
PCS right now.
Yeah, get on PCS.
But I'm fairly sure he hasn't won either.
Hang on. Let's do that again. So you need to cut. You need to cut the. You need. Yeah. Go. You need to cut this in. NJ, can we please let's head to PCS?
Okay.
For our pro cycling correspondence.
He has E3.
Okay.
Milan San Remo, Amstel Gold, Strada Bianchi, Partage Classic, Gent Wevelgem, and Unhep Nieuwsblad. That's his 1 days. Yeah. So maybe he should turn up to Pints and Pavé and get himself a proper cobblestone.
Yeah, maybe put his finger out and start racing properly.
I believe in Walt, and so should you.
Mathieu is the best classic. No.
Tom Pidcock's coming for him.
No comment. 1st of April, wear your Easter best and come to Pints and Pavé. And I guess with that, let's head to a break.
Welcome back, everyone. So, we're a cycling podcast, and yet we haven't really ever spoken about bikes properly, Cam. I heard you're in the business for a new bike. We don't need to go into why. We're just here for solutions. What brands are you fancying? What's looking good out there? Is the market hot or cold?
Yes, so the BMC is no more. I just want to say thanks to Laka, thanks to Ollie at Laka for massively helping me out with the new bike. Without giving away too much, I'm currently in kind of a middle part of the bike, right? So they've given me a few options, and anybody can look up what my bike is. It's a BMC T Machine SLR 011, so it's the blue and red one essentially. What's out there? I think it's an interesting time. I think that loads of bikes are generally looking quite similar, and by that I mean most bikes are now looking like an S-Works tarmac. We saw from the Van Rysel bike that, as you did now riding, that's just an open source mold that it's an S-Works tarmac. Let's be honest, it's the SL7 without the speed sniffer. I'm not too sure. I quite like the look of Colnago's. I think they're a little bit different. I think they're still very much Colnago. And then, like we met the titanium guys at Rouleur, right? And their bike Enigma, that was it. Hopefully, should book Enigma for season 2. And I don't really know. To see the bike that I had was really great, but I've just had two of them in 2 years, and I think I'm done with the BMC. There's no point getting into what it is because it's such a boring topic unless you own the bike. It's from it's just a really boring topic. But
just move on.
Move on. So I like the look of Colnago's. I think they're cool. Pinarello is still very much a Pinarello. They look cool. There's no getting away from the fact that one team won 3 Grand Tours and they ride one bike, albeit a lightweight climbing frame or the aero one. And I mean, I don't know if it got into the podcast, our first episode, but talk about aero, there's no way you could say to me that someone riding a Cervelo S5 is quicker than riding like an all-round bike like the tarmac. Like there's, I know people say you can't see aero, and we've said this already, but the point is that aero blade, fighter jet, Batmobile bike, I think they just look cool as fuck. Like
They do.
can't tell me I don't do a lot of hard riding. I describe my riding style as mincing, to be honest with you. And I'll just go to chat laps. I'll go get coffee. I'll dick about. I've got a full-time job. I've got a daughter. I've got other commitments outside cycling. I'm never going to get an FTP of 350 watts. But aesthetically, if I can look quite cool doing it, that's going to get my thing. So I also like to look at factors. Factors are very cool, I think. The one in like that British Racing Green's very nice. And yeah, so I'm going to stay, I think, away from the S Works. Maybe also because you see a lot of them. And
it's a lifestyle choice.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows that, generally speaking, they're great bikes. They're very quick. They work very well. Specialized one of the biggest bike companies in the world. And
they're pure marketing.
I would not possibly wish to comment on that. And I would just prefer something a little bit different. So that's also why I slightly had the BMC as well. So yeah, watch this space. I'm going to be deciding over the next couple of weeks. I've been given a couple of options, and I'm should be back on a bike in January. Fingers crossed, etc. I mean, we talked offline. I say we talked offline. We talk every day. I think I talk to you more than my wife.
None of that banker chat.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Oh God.
It's not offline. You're just talking to me because we're friends.
If Big Tom is listening in Australia, I would just like to say, listening back, there's a lot of banker chat. There's not necessarily, let's not try and boil the ocean. There's none of that. But the one with Yannick, I certainly said, the hockey stick, your hockey stick progress. So I'd like to apologise for everybody for all my shit chat. But I heard that you might be getting your arm twisted and you might be getting gravel bike. So we're an exclusively skinny tire, slicks, cobblestone, and to go over to the gravel side, I feel is you're betraying the podcast. 4 episodes in, maybe.
The North London debauchery boys,
NLD.
They've tasted the grav life. They like the grav life, and everyone but me has a grav bike.
Okay,
so it's causing strains in our relationship.
Okay.
Also, on my commuter bike, the wheel set's gone. So the hub broke. So I have to buy a new wheel set, which will cost me like £200-300. But then I'm like, do I just go full hog and spend like $4,000 on a bike? I'm doing in the long run for commuting, because I'm going to be moving out of London soon. So the commute's going to be longer. So I'm going to need like a tail fin or something, because there is no way that I can like carry like a laptop in a bag with all my clothes in it for like 90 minutes.
NJ
after an hour, it hurts my back.
NJ, is this the bike that's so like, I'm sorry, maybe a bit older, that they don't actually make replacement parts for it anymore?
I think this is both my bikes. They probably don't make replacement parts for, but the one I'm talking about is the Spesh, which I bought in 2012.
Okay. Oh, okay. So it's slightly older than my car. Slightly more.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
just to put in perspective of how old it is, it struggles with 25 wide tires on it.
Okay, so what? If there's anybody listening that works for a big box cycling retailer, or actually anybody that would like to sponsor this podcast, the first person that could use some help, a loaner bicycle, or otherwise is NJ. But other than that, NJ, what
But
are you looking into? What if you're looking at are
okay,
you
so
looking at like an all road gravel and road setup kind of thing, right? Change the wheel
this
set.
this is where things get very complex, because I'm deep. I'm deep in the sewer. Like, I'm deep. The algo is going wild. You know, like the memes where it's like all the numbers and the person's like looking. I think it's like an
Yeah,
actual
with the
Brazilian
red
show.
tape. Yeah.
It's like that, but when I'm like got all these tabs of bikes on, and I'm like, I just don't want to spend any money. But ideal, this is what we're doing.
Okay.
I watched a Dylan Johnson video. He was like, you should put drop handlebars on a hardtail mountain bike. So, and I was speaking to, like, some guys who do gravel in this country, and they're like, you shouldn't have a gravel bike, you should just have a mountain bike. So I was thinking, first off, you have a drop bar mountain bike, and that is just for like graveling, having fun. We're in the woods. Two, you get sort of maybe like an endurance all road one for like traveling, which costs like $1,000. Put a tail fin on it. I can put all my stuff in there, and then like blitz to Bank and back from Hertfordshire. And then I still got my normal road bike for shred sessions. So ideally, it's a 3 bike pronged approach I want, and then the special goes back to the parents' house. So when I visit them, I have a bike. There we have it. I probably need to buy a wheel set, and I need to buy 2 more bikes. We're not in N+1 no more. We're in N+2.
What happened
You're the
to
maths
you, mate?
guy. Tell me the algebra. What happened to me? I've watched too much YouTube. Is probably what has happened to me.
Yeah. So NJ's comment there. Yes, I the reason I do what I do for a living is actually because I'm very good at maths. And okay, so my solution
But
is
what's
this.
likely going to happen is I probably won't buy
My,
any bikes, and I'll just end up buying paint.
right. So my solution is this. Get rid of both. All right. Get rid of both. Get rid of both bikes. Do whatever you want to do with it. Maybe keep one as only a Regent's. Maybe keep the felt aero bike as just like a creaky Regent's bike, because that's what it is currently. And just let it be that. Maybe what you do is you get one bike. You get a cyclocross bike. So standard, do the blue cyclocross bike, and
Yeah,
you get just that one. You get it one by because, I mean, to be honest with you, in the UK, you don't really need more than that. Let's just call a spade a spade. And you speak to Nick at VIA, get yourself a standard. You can get 2 sets of. I'll probably get 2 sets of wheels. Don't get
I think the
hookless wheels.
problem.
Don't get hookless wheels because they look cool and they're cheaper. Like
I know the dangers.
we've all done it. We've all been on Sigma and seen a pair of zips and gone, "Ooh, they're quite reasonable." No one's going to ever convince me that hookless is a good idea, even if it means I can ride zips. And go on there, get a section, get a like a 45 section, roll around on those, and then also get like a thin section wheel and get some knobbly tires from Schwalbe or wherever you fancy. That's it. That's all I would do if I were you.
Yeah, the thing with cyclocross bike is I don't know how wide you can actually go with them, because I think they're like limited to 33, whereas with gravel you need like 40.
But do you?
And that's why I was thinking mountain bike, because it's just solid mud, isn't it?
Is this big gravel marketing? Have you been through a period of osmosis? You're now believing the Grav chat through the power of social media and YouTubers.
I think it's through the WhatsApp groups, to be fair.
But here's a question: Paris-Roubaix Tour of Flanders, arguably worse roads than gravel in the UK. And gravel in the UK is just mountain biking on a road bike. I guess the point I'm trying to make, listeners, is gravel real?
What do you mean? Is gravel? I think it is real. We can all see it.
No. The gravel chat is this. It used to be go on a mountain bike, go off road, go on a road bike, go on the road. Now there's a blending of it, which I think is great. So also, don't get me wrong, I'm a man of contrarian beliefs because my mum rides a gravel bike, and she actually bought it to ride from Land's End to Lowestoft, so west to east. Hi, Mum. Hope you're listening. And she raised money for breast cancer charity, and I'm fully behind it. If anybody wants to donate, I can send links. But but it's really good for getting people into cycling because cycling is now really expensive. It's not like it used to be, and we're not that old.
No.
So if you do get one bike, you change the wheel set, you do etc. etc. It's really, really good. But I guess the point is that gravel in the UK isn't gravel in Colorado or Girona or the Strada Bianca of Italy. Gravel in the UK is just dried up mountain bike tracks.
It's mud.
People, it's mud. It's just mountain bike tracks that people ride road bikes on. So, you could get the mountain bike hardtail with drop handlebars, but if you're commuting, you're probably doing, you're doing what? 3 days a week on the road, and you might ride on Sunday doing gravel.
Yeah.
So you're probably better suited to riding a cyclocross bike because you can get road tires on it. I mean, you do it, you're not going to be doing downhill mountain bike technical courses. So do you really need it that wide? And, further than that, are you really going to be going off road where you need bigger than a 30? These people running like 1 psi on a 69 tire. Like, come on, man! Like, you're still riding a bike. Like armchairing it.
I think our friend, Other Roots, doesn't Mark have a basso?
Mark has a beautiful basso.
And he has gravel tyres on it, and he has road tyres on it.
Mm-hmm. Mark, I think please send us a DM. We are likely to do another chat in a couple of weeks' time. If you would like to tell the people how you have set
the ultimate
up.
Conversion.
Yes.
Maybe Mark could sell gravel to you and then sell me the one bike to roll them all.
Yeah, come on. You're Kevin McLeod. You're doing Grand Designs. Tell us how you did that conversion.
Is there a divorce in there? So, Cam, as the year is ending of 2023, and have you got any fun memories from the year, cycling wise?
So, fun memories. So, I would say, one of my more fun memories was Isle of Wight with you guys.
When was that?
I want to say
June?
May,
July?
June? May, June.
May.
No, July was in France. May, June. The problem for me is that it's like massive peaks and troughs, me cycling. So I'll go to the Alps where my wife is from in Gap. We're like 1,000 meters above altitude. And I'm banging around and it's incredible roads. And, the Tour de France coming through in 2024, 3 days in a row, like back-to-back days. Yeah, incredible. So it's proper pro territory. My personal nemesis.
Have you seen White Shorts in Gap?
Yes, but only on very old men, and they normally also have fluoro jerseys. But anyway,
White Shorts are White Shorts. That
is
cycling heritage.
We still are. Like Nans Peters lives in the next town over, and sometimes I look at his. sometimes I look at his Strava, and he's like got a KOM up a mountain, and I'm doing 180 beats for 45 minutes, right? And we're at altitude already, so like there's it's like
Yeah.
sea level doing 200, and I look at his heart rate data, and it's like 110 beats, so it's like he's going for a brisk walk. And one of the KOMs he's got near me or near my wife is he set when he was like a neo pro, so he was like 19 at the time, and I'm looking at like
Yeah.
30 years old. I've got a bike more expensive than my car, and I'm desperately trying to beat his time from 10 years ago. But highlights for me, Isle of Wight was a weird one. I think I said it before. It's like one of the great places you can go to and enjoy yourself without actually having a good time. The
Yeah.
wind, the rain, the cars, but I think
There
the
weren't too
the
many
journey
cars.
of no, but when they came, the lanes were so narrow that it
Yeah.
was just a bit
There was that.
mental.
Yeah, I don't know where it is. Like the single lane, high bushes, all those cars. Weirdly, were just there.
Yeah, the bushes were like 15 foot tall, so you couldn't see around the corner, and you had to pedal so your freewheel didn't go, so you could hear the cars or the van coming around the corner. And our friend Patrick, shout out Patrick, him and I got caught between a traffic jam on a really steep hillside where there were two buses passing each other, and like we ended up just walking up, and it was like 15% hill. We're like, what the fuck is going on here? So yeah, one of the highlights for me was the Isle of Wight. Like I said, I got a small child. I'm quite busy, and I rarely am I able to leave my house at 7 in the morning, go and cycle all day, not think about it, and then come home in the evening and everything would be cool. I'm a 6 in the morning out the door, back at 11, and then we can have our afternoon or our day together. So it was one of those days for me that was quite special. And 2 weeks in the Alps this year in the summer. Cam, the other Cam, Canadian Cam, hey man, hope you're good. He came out with us with his partner Amanda, uh, Clarice's best friend Dan, and his partner Connell. They both came out as well, and it was glorious. It was cafe stopping. Yes, we did one big day over maybe 10 days, but it was mainly like cafe stopping, getting an espresso for €1.50. No bother. Like cycling out there is so good because like, I once remember being at a T junction, and in where Clarice's from, just outside of Gap, they know who I am because that's the English guy, right? So I've got when French people speak, sometimes they have a noticeable French accent. Apparently, it's the same
Yeah.
the other way too. Oh, you can hear that's an English person speaking French, and I can speak French relatively fluently, but clearly you don't lose your accent. And I remember getting to a T junction and speaking to a guy, and I was just checking my phone for routes, and he was like, "Hey, how are you? Oh, I know you're from the village. Do you want to lift back? Is everything okay?" So it's very, very different out there. Cars give you a massive wide berth. There's lots of pros. The roads are so smooth, and it's very unlike the UK in that you're either going up 7.5, 8% coals, and then you're coming down the other way as well at 70k an
Yeah.
hour. And when you're going down big roads with hairpins, cars pull in for you. I've had it before where I'm going down the road down the top of this coal. I've got this route which is 1,000 meters, 45 kilometers of riding. It's 1,000 meters climbing. So 45 meters around, 1,000 meters climbing. It's pretty horrific. When you're coming
Yeah.
down the other end, yeah, you're doing 70, 80k an hour, and that's on 35 mil wheels. So not aero section. You're just banging it downhill, and cars see you in the rearview mirror. They pull over. So for me, highlight was 2 weeks in France in the Haute Alps, and then Isle of Wight, where we started this podcast essentially. How about you? What was your
Yeah.
highlights for this?
just like you, I think the Isle of Wight was a great trip. It was very much 6 a.m. to like didn't get home till 9 p.m. I guess another one we did was cycling to Oxford. That was
Oh, nice.
it was more like most rides. It's not really about the route could be horrible. On that day in Oxford, none of us brought rain jackets, and like 20k before the end, we got absolutely like soaked through.
Really?
Yeah, we we descended down some hill. Me and Big T were like full. I think we were hit like 70k an hour down some hill. And then at the end, we're like, oh, there's a pub. So we went in the pub, obviously. Everyone got
Yeah.
the round in. And then it just started bucketing it down. And we're like, at some point, we have to leave because none of us have lights. And then we like cycled in the rain for like 20k. And then Pat's mate Ollie's brother had the coffee shop. So we dropped in there as say hi. Then we went off to Oxford, got the old McDonald's in, got on the train, but the train didn't really have any bike space, so we just had to like fashion our own bike space. It was one of those like great stories where you're like, you'll always remember it because of the suffering. And then I think I've had some good days in, I guess, Essex with the lads from NLD and in Incognito, and then I guess just like chat laps with CGC as well. That's always good. Seeing people, chatting with them again, and then I guess I was doing my own little random training plan as well for like 8 weeks as well to see how fast I could go over 15 minutes. Smash whole blocks of 15 minutes, 5-minute rest for 4 times. So like an hour threshold training. It was terrible. Get that, get the calorie burn on, and then you're like useless for the rest of the day. But you just try and get through it. Whether that's actually a fun ride, I'll let you know. I like the physicality of testing yourself, seeing how strong you can get. I think the best numbers I did was 277 normalized power for 15 minutes.
Jesus, is that that's on the road and not on Zwift, right?
Yeah, that's in the inner circle. So I averaged 38k, 39k for 15 minutes solo.
Jeez. So are you gonna put that to good use in 2024, or is that a figment now?
Well, I haven't really ridden since November properly. I think I've been doing like 100k here, 100k there. It's been very scatty. Just coming off COVID, so I think I have to do a lot of base again, which could be on Zwift. So actual zone 2. There's a lot of people who say they do zone 2, but I don't think they do.
Is that like Strava title zone 2, and then normalized power is like 230 watts?
Well, if you go, if you really want to. If you want to be an inspector of the Zone 2 kit, what you do is you go into their power file. I hope that they've put the FTP at the right thing. And if it's anything above Zone 2, it's not a Zone 2 ride. Because there's quite a lot of people love a good sprint out of a corner. And like, you shouldn't raise any of it because then you get your lactate threshold in your legs. And it takes like, half an hour for it to go away. So you're actually just like cycling for half an hour and it's not actually doing anything at Zone 2. So I think you really need to just do Zone 2 on Zwift, because then you can just zone out. You've got that erg mode, or if you do what I do and just put it on training mode for like 90 minutes, watch something on Netflix, and then you just don't have to worry, and make sure you don't peak it over into the Zone 3. Although next year I'm going to be Zone 1ing next year. That's how I'm going to go even slower.
So what do you think you've got planned for 2024? What do you think you want to do?
Well, there's Vladiland, which is being murmured about. Could be road or gravel trip in Romania.
I've heard about this.
It'll be Vibe-tastic. I imagine it'll be a lot of boozing as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more about brothers coming together.
Yeah, I've heard about Vladiland. I think that'll be a vibe.
Trying to get to as many group rides as possible back in London when I'm not living in London. It's probably the other goal. I'm figuring out like a nice training plan. I kind of got like in my mind. I kind of like so Monday will probably be Zwifting or like on the turbo, just an hour. Monday morning wake up. Tuesday we do a threshold session. Wednesday we have a chilled one. Thursday no bico, which means we can booze.
Yes.
Friday we'll do a nice chilled one. I think maybe I start going to the office on a Friday, so I cycle from my house to chat laps to one of the various groups that we've been invited to so far.
Yes.
And then I go into work, and then I cycle back on a Friday night. And then Saturday, Sunday, it's kind of like the endurance / smash fest if I can get myself on a ride. If not, it'll be a solo smash. There'll also be like a hill session in there at some point as well. But it's finding the right hill, finding the fun hills in Hartford. Because it is kind of like, there might only be like 20-second, 30-second hills. So I might have to go around like Northolt, Cuffley Way, because there's some like good hills around there. Carboni Hill, but they're like 25% in sections, which isn't that nice.
Fuck that.
I kind of just want ideally, I just want to. I think all goes well. We live in the Côte d'Azur. I just need a climb which is like 3 to 5k, 6%, and that will be like the perfect hill. We just need like a steady mountain, or even like. Even when you're in Yorkshire, although when I was going up Buttertubs, it's probably the one. It's probably the most level, but then it's kind of just got like a horrible 12%, 15% bit in it, which is like nearly killed me. Because when you're doing all that, like Yorkshire Dale, is it the Moors or the Dale? I think it's the Dales.
Dales. It's
down
Dales.
that area. It is. They just don't build hills in this country to a nice standard of everything's sort of like a nice gradient. It's always just like 4% to 15% to 10%. It's like so uneven. I hate it.
No, I tend to agree with you. Like, so next year a couple of things going on. So you've got my wedding. People are probably sick and tired of already hearing about my wedding, but so there's going to be potentially 2 trips to France, I think, this year for us. There's also going to be maybe 2 trips as well because my wife's got tickets to go see Taylor Swift, and that's 3 days before. Yeah, it's 3 days before our wedding. So she's in an only a way that encapsulates the zeitgeist behind Taylor Swift, that she's like, well, I'll just fly back, and then I'll come and fly back to Lyon because we'll have our daughter. I think we're probably going to be doing week in France, middle of July, for us to go and see the tour.
The Gap podcast.
100%.
We'll interview French locals who don't speak any word of English and let the chaos ensue.
Yeah, maybe the podcast is going to last 3 times as long because it's going to be in French. Then I translate it, then you answer, then I'm translating it back, and then they're speaking French. So there's going to be a couple of steps. So probably a week in Gap, and then a week in Lyon, and I think maybe a couple of days. I might try and go Girona in February. Maybe a Friday, Monday, or a Thursday, Monday. So, in Girona. I've never been. Love to go. I think Girona's for me.
Neither have I, but I have booked a holiday to Mallorca in April. Weird days, a Tuesday to a Saturday, because that was the cheapest flights by like half. It was like £64 on like a Tuesday and a Saturday, or like 160. So I was like, well, clearly I'm going to choose the cheaper days.
Are you renting or are you taking?
Bike wise, I haven't figured that one out yet. I think maybe we might just do something wild and be like, I'm going to rent an e-bike around Palma. We've only booked flights. I don't know where we're going to be staying on the island.
I think you should go Pinarello. I think you should go Pinarello Centre. Get yourself.
I don't actually. We haven't picked any hotel or anything like that. All we've done is book flights with BA, because I was looking at it, and when you do like the EasyJet.
Mm.
It says like £30. You click on it, and it's like all you have is a rucksack, and then you want to add that check-in bag, and they're like, it's now £200. So I went over to BA, and BA were like, it's
Here's the
also
price.
like 200. It's also £200, and I'm like, well, I can if it's the sort of airplane I think it is. It has a power adapter, which means I can take my laptop, which means I can play Football Manager, and that's my flight. That's what I do. It's probably the nerdiest game I play, but I only ever play it on flights. I haven't. I've pulled back from playing it in like day to day.
For anyone listening as well, BA is also a hack because they do cumulative luggage. So you could take a bike box as part of your hold luggage. So you don't actually have to worry about anything else. So you can put the bike in a bike box as well as your cabin bag, and you don't have to pay on EasyJet. Sometimes you pay extra, and there you go.
Yeah, and then it's up to you if you want to shove it full of clothes and potentially wreck your bike box.
Shall we head to a break? Shall we head to a break? Talk about wants for next season. Welcome back, everybody. Slight bonus round. We have been talking a lot about who we'd really like to have on the podcast. Kind of people that we see, people that we know, or people that we would just love to have on. So, NJ, maybe give us 2 picks, 2, 3. What do you fancy? Who would you really like to have a conversation with, and who do you think people would like to hear from?
Firstly, I think Coach Wattai is a resident of CC London, but he also does quite a lot of work with women's cycling. He has a women's riding and race skill sessions that take part in Regent's Park Inner Circle on Wednesday and Thursdays at 6:30 a.m. And he does quite a lot of good work about, I guess, bringing in diversity and inclusion within, I guess, the cycling realm, within racing and just, I guess, day-to-day cycling. Another one I've just thought of off the top of my head, which we didn't, which, I'm going off piece, man. I'm going off piece.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think sort of the Friends of Herne Hill. So it would be good to speak to, it's a big London establishment, a lot of racing, a lot of, I guess, community works there. They're always having to raise money to keep it open. So it would be amazing to, I guess, speak to them and all like the journey and I guess the heritage of the velodrome. I'd love to have Alex Peters on the show. He grew up in Hackney with Teo Gegenhardt and joined Sky at the same time as him. I think he will have a really intriguing story to, I guess, say it didn't go as, I guess, Alex would have planned. Would probably be a nice way of putting it. But would love to hear in his own words about his, I guess, pro career and how he, I guess, is still racing today. I'm not sure what his ethnicity is, but I feel like I believe that I read somewhere that he is also of South Asian descent, like myself,
Nice.
and mixed race. He is probably who I envision myself as a pro. So, from a place in my heart of, maybe like a mini hero in the pro ranks.
Fair. No, that sounds interesting. For sure, we should try and get him on.
Bonus one, I think. Have you heard of Red Waters? I think it'd be funny to have on because he does all those videos.
I love Red Waters on Instagram. I've spoken to him a few times. He seems like a really great guy, and he also seems to be quite self-aware. So we get Red Waters on. I used to watch his YouTube videos years ago. When he used to do race analysis. Remember, it'd be like Shane Miller and Chris from Nero Show. They used to do just race analysis, GoPro footage, power overlays, GC performance, the same sort of thing. Yeah, I think Red Miller would be interesting to talk to.
So Cam, who's on your hit list? Who would you love to have on the show?
So for me, 2 people I'd really like to get on. So the first one would be Condor, I'd say. One of the UK's oldest retailers, manufacturers. Pretty sure it's still family owned. They make incredible frames. The waiting list is still really, really long. They do amazing bespoke frames. We saw one at Rouleur, that gold and blue one. and I would really like to have an understanding about who they are as a company, where they see the bike industry going. They've been around for 100 years or so. So Condor for me would be a massive one. And second guest I'd really like to have a conversation with is Alec Briggs, who runs Techers. I've been flooding his DMs, but I think that I'm going into the junk pile
Stalker.
with yeah. And so if anyone knows Alec and can put me in touch, that'd be very appreciated. Look, I think he's doing some amazing work with Techers. It's one of the few great British cycling like proper stories. We've had some amazing guests, and I know that Techers competes against Trash, and they do things against okay, fast turn left, but he's got his kit in Rafa, sponsored athlete with Canyon, and does some amazing other stuff. You and I think both watched his clip or his video on,
Yeah, it's got great Instagram content and YouTube content.
and also he did some co-branded stuff with GCN as well, and
He makes cycling very exciting and enjoyable. And the way it's all filmed and edited makes it I guess brings it to a new audience and shows off cycling for how fun and passionate everyone is about it.
No, I totally agree. And he put an Instagram post up talking about a Mini that they had as a team car that he said was wildly impractical because it couldn't fit anything. The last photo he put up was a Mini cut in half. He's like, "Oh, I'll tell you this story at another time." I was like, "Okay, cool." So, love to have a chat with Alec Briggs. Love to have a conversation. I'd also really like to talk to him about how he sees the kind of UK/continental scene. I guess Chris Miller talks on the Neuro show, him and Jesse talk about the fact that Aussie crit racing or Aussie racing is slightly dying and you need to go to Belgium. Same things happen with the UK. You can't be a continental racer in the UK anymore, I would say, and properly make a living without being on social media, without being a sponsored athlete. So I'd actually like to have a conversation.
Tour of Britain doesn't exist anymore, does it?
It does.
Or
it's
does
not the same thing. It does, but it does. It went past my parents' house, but I don't think that Tour of Britain is a UCI one dot race anymore. So how calendar works. It's like if you're World Tour, you have to go to World Tour races. If you're continent, the Invitational Series. But I don't think it's World Tour anymore, which is a massive shame. Which was one of the great legacies of 2012. But yeah, for me, Condor and Alec Briggs. So if anyone knows Alex personally, send him a WhatsApp. Tend to check his DMs because there'll be a lot of spam from me. Well, thank everybody for joining in on the episode. Clearly, we didn't have a guest today, but I hope you still enjoyed NJ and I talking through
absolute waffle.
Yeah, through what we've got planned.
Tour de waffle.
Little bit of bike chat, what we've got planned, who we'd like on, etc., etc. Follow us, download our podcasts wherever you typically find them. Available on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Spin Cycle Podcast with underscores. Merch to be probably revealed in the new year. And 1st of April, we've got the group ride. So we look forward to seeing you there. NJ, anything to tie us and say goodbye to everybody?
Nothing from me. So it's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me. Bye.
Bye. There we go. Perfect.
That was perfect. That was